Now, during a recent trip to Malawi, I had the opportunity to visit the Malawian Vice President, Saulos Chilima, who is also a presidential candidate representing an opposition group, the United Transformation Movement, challenging his boss, incumbent President Arthur Peter Mutharika, for the highest position in the land, the presidency. Mr. Saulos Chilima, I have to say that I'm profoundly honored and exceedingly humbled to have the opportunity to host you for the first time on this special edition of Straight Talk Africa.
Thank you.
You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
I am hugely terrific, especially because I have you here in an incredibly beautiful jacket.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
I gather that you have decided that you would like to be the occupant of the highest office in the land come next year.
Yes.
True?
Yes, but perhaps to say that the people have said so and have agreed.
In what way? Has there been a referendum or something of that sort?
Not a referendum, but they've been calls by different people for me to participate. So I've said it's fine. I'll respond to their call very positively and participate in the race next year.
If I understand you correctly, Mr. Vice President, are you saying that this was not your initiative, but rather that in fact you reacted or responded to people who drafted you?
Yes, it's true that I personally had no intentions to contest, but people saw certain qualities in me that they thought qualified for the top office. And you know, the calls have been going on for the last couple of months, and eventually I said, fine, let's go for it. And here we are. We are you know, going ahead with that plan. The rest is history.
How was the relationship between you and the president during the last 4 years?
It was good.
It was good.
It was good because you know, as we interacted and went about business, you know, whatever assignments I was given and I was reporting back, he was satisfied that he is a man that I had tasked to do certain jobs, and they were being done to the extent possible, and for as far, you know, as far as I recall, to his satisfaction.
You know as well, of course, as I do, that your constitution allows term limits.
Sure.
And therefore, the president was expected at least to try and serve the 2 terms.
Absolutely.
And in that particular case, you were expected to be a loyal soldier.
Absolutely.
Are you surprised, therefore, that some of the president's supporters are in fact calling you names to the extent that they're saying you are a traitor?
Well, first is that you're right. The Constitution provides for 2 terms. And it is the prerogative of the president to choose a running mate. It is also true that there is name calling, and perhaps he who shouts the loudest is the one who is heard. It may not necessarily be that what they are shouting is the truth. I have, to the extent possible, tried to stay away from responding to these kinds of insults and allegations. I don't think that I would want to pursue that game, but posterity is going to judge us.
Why would you like to be president here? What makes you tick?
Yeah.
What would you do differently? What do you bring on the table?
Okay. First is that having served in office for the last 4 years, I have learned new things, how government ought to be run. I learned a lot of this during the time that I was chairman of the Reforms Commission. So that's number one. I have a very clear idea how things ought to be done in the civil service, looking at the environment itself, how to motivate people, how to re-energize the system, because everybody says our civil service is not the same, but it can be re-energized. I have enough experience acquired over the 4 years on how to first of all resolve that engine. Second is our messaging in our organization today, and which is also what I subscribe to, is that there are certain fundamentals that ought to change if we are going to have a different outcome.
Fundamentals?
Fundamentals.
Such as?
The type of politics that we practice. Yeah, we have politics of poverty here, politics of glorification here. The type of politics needs to change, because just about everything revolves around what happens in the political arena. And if we are going to continue to promote this slave-master relationship, where people think they are presidents, and it doesn't, not just the incumbent, but I'm talking about presidents in general, that the presidents must provide for the people. Presidents must give them school fees. Presidents must give them out-of-pocket allowances, etc. And they are the master. Therefore, they want to promote that individual to stay in that office for the longest possible period, so they benefit. We are continuing to promote a situation where the majority, those that don't have access, will continue to suffer. I mean, the people are suffering in this country. There is serious poverty. I don't know how far you have traveled in this country, but from where we're sitting, if you picked any direction, you go 5-10 kilometers, you're going to see some serious poverty. And we needed, to say, and it happens in other countries, where we need to promote what we call servant leadership. I am a servant of the people. We've talked about campaigning for 2019. What it basically is I'm going to be asking for a job, for people to employ me as a president of this country. When I win, I become their boss. It's very ironic,
You're not a servant leader.
You're not a servant leader anymore. I think this is what we're trying to advocate to change. And we can do it, because some of us have resisted the temptation to be glorified. We want to remain the same. There must be human beings occupying these positions. Let's not create monsters, dinosaurs, to occupy the president's office. It's correct.
Someone once described democracy, and it was Abraham Lincoln of the United States, as a government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Sure.
But there are some critics who have come out to say that most democracies in Africa could probably be characterized as a government of some people, by some people, for some people.
And I agree with those,
Really?
the latter. We need to go back to the origins. We need to have democracy in its original form, not what we are seeing today.
Who is in charge of Malawi? Who owns Malawi?
Well, it's the people, not certain individuals. All of us. I mean, there's 18 million of us right now.
Equal shares.
Well, I wish it was, I would put it in that manner, but we belong. I don't think that we can say we own, but we belong. We belong, and if belonging would be, construed the same as shareholding, then 18 million Malawians are shareholders of this country. And ideally, this is ideally, but they should have equal shares, but that's just ideally. The realities on the ground are different.